I'm going to show you how to get live drum tracks in just a few clicks with my favorite drum VST plugin. The plugin is called Jamstix. It's made by a company called Rayzune. I believe the original programmer is actually a drummer. So really quick, I'm going to play a sample of what the finished drums in this track sound like made with Jamstix. Okay, so that is a quick sample of what the finished version of a song sounded like using Jamstix. Now we'll go into the actual plugin itself and show you some basic settings. This is the free version of the plugin, and I'll explain the difference between the free and paid version as we go. This screen here is the song wizard, so you just select the parts of the song, the order, the intro, verse, chorus. If you don't know how you're going to structure your song, you can start with a verse and just have that repeat over and over. In this case, I knew the exact song structure of my song, and I selected basic rock. It is pretty limited on the styles that you get. However, the most important thing is the import style. So if you create a groove, a kick and snare and hi-hat groove with your MIDI keyboard, or you import a MIDI loop, you are able then to allow Jamstix to use its AI to play the groove like a drummer would. So you'll never hear three cymbals crash at the same time because a drummer only has two arms and can only hit two cymbals. These kinds of adjustments are made pretty much in real time. Like I said, in this case, we're going to choose rock, and all of the red ones are ones that are not available unless you have a paid version. Once you have selected a style, you'll select a drummer. Also, another limitation of the free version is that most of these drummers are not available. However, the Jamstix drummer is very useful for playing whatever the style or groove that you've imported, playing fairly accurately and representing that with a little bit of human behavior added to make it sound like an actual drummer. The other drummers have a lot more improvisation built into them. And then you can also select the kit. There are plenty of acoustic kits in here and even a drum and bass kit. Another advantage of using this as a kit is that you can use it in a traditional way that you would use a VST and just trigger the kit with your MIDI pattern. If you want to audition the kits after you've selected one, you just go into kit here and then you can just tap on here and it comes complete with cowbell, and you can easily select a different kit, drum and bass, see what that sounds like. So you have a variety of different kits. Go back to the rock, several rock kits, extra dry. And even after you've selected your kit, you still have a lot of adjustability. You can change the individual pieces of the kit here. So if you wanted to change snares, you could change snare, hi-hats, etc. And also there is a built-in mixer. So you can down mix to stereo and have all the drums coming through a stereo track, or you can click this button and then everything will have its own track here. And on each track, there is an equalizer and some other effects here. So as you can see, there are a lot of options. And if you want me to go deeper into the options, leave a comment. Let me know what you wanted to know more about. So far, we've just explored the build page, the kit page, and the mixer page. The groove page is the meat of the plugin. So when I select the groove page, you see even more options. And this can be overwhelming when you first start using this plugin. However, I would recommend actually ignoring most of this. The things that really affect your drum sound are the style and the drummer and the variations of the style. So every style will have more than one variation. You can click here and you can see all of the variations of that style. And here you can see all of the variations that the drummer can do. And these are the main things that I think everyone should start adjusting at the beginning to get the right groove going. Otherwise, if it's not really working for you, just change your style or change your drummer. You can see for the pre-chorus, I have basic rock and I have the Jamstix drummer. And then on the chorus, I actually have a different drummer, Tony. For each one of these song sections, you can make changes here and they will affect all of the other song sections that are linked. And you can tell they're linked because they're the same color. So chorus 1 is linked to chorus 2 and 3, etc. All right. Also, as the song plays, you can see all of these notes here, and this is what the groove is trying to play. Each drummer has different embellishments and different fills. So over here in the accent panel, you'll see different hi-hat hits. And so these are crossed out because the drummer only has 2 hands and because of the timing. So he's probably playing a different note with his right hand here based on either the groove or the fill, or it's crossed out because of a setting in one of these panels. It can get complicated, but if you really just want that hit, you can click it in there. So don't worry too much about what's actually being played. If it's not what you want, you can always change it. So let's go over here and just play a little bit from the same section. So you can see what it's playing. You have halftime options. Using the build tab to build out your song, you can create a live drum track in just a matter of seconds. And one more very important thing before you get started messing with this plugin is to know what mode you're in. There's normal jam, MIDI jam, audio jam, and MIDI playback. Normal jam uses this groove tab, and the power is influenced by automation that you have. And the higher the power level, the more intense and loud the drum hits are, and also the density of hits in a smaller amount of time. So if you have 90, 100% power, you've got a lot more hits going on. And if you turn it down to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, you have a lot less hits. So the drummer is not hitting as often. And that's another reason some of those X's are showing up. So with that being explained, then the importance of MIDI jam and audio jam comes into play. In MIDI jam mode, the power is adjusted by another MIDI track you have going on. So if you have a keyboard track or a piano track going, you can send that to Jamstix, and the dynamics of the drummer will be triggered by that track or multiple tracks. So when we go to audio, the same thing is happening. The power is triggered by audio that's going into Jamstix. Now, audio cannot be routed to Jamstix directly. You have to install a plugin. So let me go over that. Here is my mixer. And as you see, I have these audio tracks being routed to an aux track. And on that aux track is this Audio M8 plugin. This is Jamstix Audio Data Analyzer. So you send audio into this, and then this analyzes the audio and helps Jamstix decide what the power levels should be. You'll want to tweak it as you play the song. So you'll want to send different levels of tracks into this based on how you want it to control the dynamics. So in this example, I have more of the music track, a little bit less of the bass, and way less of the vocals going to this track to control the dynamics of the drums. And you can see that in action now that we're in audio jam mode. So when I press play, being influenced by the track. And so when we're in the verse, there should be less going on, and then the power level goes down, and now Jamstix is playing softer. It's even doing side sticks for the snare instead of hitting the snare outright. That is part of the main power of Jamstix. And here there's one more song mode. This is the MIDI playback mode. This is pretty standard. If you play a note on the keyboard, then it's going to be played in Jamstix. So this is a way to use Jamstix kits inside of your session without having to use any of the advanced functionality inside of Jamstix. I really enjoy this audio jam mode because it really is just being more dynamic with your track. And I'll play a little bit of that on the way out. Please leave a comment if you want me to go further into the settings. And with that, we'll see you in the next one.